And welcome back. Jonathan Clarke live here on Q1043's Out of the Box with an artist in the studio who's been on the show before, New York City's very own Kaki King. Welcome back.
Hello. Good to
Been
be
a
here.
while, right?
It has.
Man, and it's funny. I say you're from New York City. Your MySpace page says Storage Mart, New York.
Yeah, I have I live, my possessions reside at Storage Mart in Brooklyn.
Because you're never home.
Because I'm never home. I have no home. I'm officially a gypsy.
Journeywoman, musician, artist, etc. Well, last time you were here, I guess was right around the release of your first album, Everybody Loves You, if I remember correctly, right? And so you've been busy. Now you're set to release your fourth album, Dreaming of Revenge. And a couple cool things I read recently you did. You did some songs for Sean Penn's Into the Wild soundtrack. Talk about that experience. Was that fun?
It was really great fun. I got to come in at the very beginning of the post-production. I think they'd actually hadn't finished filming yet. It was maybe a week. And I just visited the set, and then at the very end of the process,
the set was like
oh, not really. It was more just the like where they were out in the middle of the Southern California desert,
right? Yeah.
And I just got to visit with the people making the film. I didn't actually go see the.
So you like worked with Sean? I mean,
well, yeah, I met with Sean, and I met with Michael Brook, who is the main composer of the film, and I was sort of brought in just to be introduced into eat shrimp
pick up on the vibe,
eat shrimp cocktail and virgin pina coladas, and we did a lot every day, I think, and then
very nice,
and then nothing until the sort of final process of doing the film, where they said, listen, we have a bunch of scenes that we just don't have the right music for, and we'd like you to come and that was my time to sort of come in and make my contribution, in addition to a couple of songs that I'd already recorded on an album that they wanted to use, that they put use in the film. So they just set up a screen, and they ran the final edit of the scene, and I just got to improvise music along to it. Yeah, it was really.
So it's just sort of stream of conscious composing, watching something visual.
Well, it was just improvisation, and then I think, okay, well, this really should have a lap steel here, and I had a good engineer in the studio with me, and we just worked through it, and that's how that came about.
Awesome. And so also some music for the film August Rush.
Yes, that was a bit of a different experience. That film had been entirely shot and was done, and it was kind of a fix-it job. They had Freddie Highmore played the kid who he played August Rush, right. And he's supposed to be a musical prodigy, and they said, well, we want him to be a musical prodigy on everything, and how do we approach the guitar angle? And it was either we don't really want like Satriani, we don't really want Segovia, what's in between? And I think it was
that you just covered the spectrum there pretty much.
Well,
Satriani,
it was just like or a jazz guy. We want something that's different, and I think David Crosby said you should use a Michael Hedges tune, because David and Michael are very good friends. And then so they used a Michael Hedges tune, but it wasn't one of this Michael Hedges pieces that looked that impressive.
Right.
So I saw the film, and I said, well, it looks fine. He does look like he's playing this piece of music. And what's the problem? They said, well, we want it to look cooler. And I thought, oh God. So, and they hired me because not only did I re-record the music, I also was the hand double. So I re-recorded the music to make it sound cool, not sound cooler, but just in order to make it sound so I could do something that would look,
Well, and
I'm using quotes, just so you know, the audience out there. I'm using scare quotes when I say look cooler.
Yeah. Well, no, I understand why they wanted to do it. No,
yeah.
I mean, you explained it perfectly. So.
And anyway, so it was something after the fact, and I actually was just in California, and I was at this conference thing, and I met Robin Williams, and he saw me play, and because Robin Williams is a character in the film,
right, yeah.
And he did his anyway. So I said, "Oh, it's such a pleasure to meet you," and I was actually Freddie Highmore's hand double in the movie, and he looked at me like, "What are you talking about?" And
did he say love your work?
No, he was just being weird. But funny, but
right,
I didn't really understand half of the things that were coming out of his mouth.
Mork.
He was in Mork at that point, and but I realized that since everything had been done in post, that he probably had no idea that it had been that hadn't been Freddie Highmore playing. So I think he might have thought I was some sort of fraud.
Well, so Dave Grohl, the Foo Fighters, he's a big fan of yours too. You're on the current Foo Fighters album.
Best rock album of 2007.
Yeah, well, he won a couple Grammys, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that must have been fun.
That was,
into the studio with them, or was it like emailing MP3s?
No, it was I was actually out in LA doing the Into the Wild stuff, and Dave and I had been talking for a while about doing something. Didn't really know what, and I was texting him, and he said, "Oh, we're mixing, come by." So I went, and they're mixing an album. It's the final, next to the final process, and so he says, "I've got this I have a song that I want to play for you that I want you to hear." And I said, okay, I'm thinking he's going to put a CD on. And he goes, no, actually, I have to play it for you. So he goes and picks up a guitar and starts playing this tune.
Even cooler.
Then I go, well, and I'm standing there, and I pick up a guitar too, and I start harmonizing with him. And so we just did this. It's basically kind of a sort of just a bluegrass ditty, really.
What's the name of the song on the album?
The name of the song's Battle of the Beaconsfield Miners, and he wrote it for these Australian miners who were trapped in a mine in Tasmania, and they were able to get food and water and air and communicate with them. They weren't able to get them out, and in addition to any requests, and they said, well, we want iPods with Foo Fighters records on them. So Dave was so kind of touched by this, like they don't know they're going to live or die.
Amazing,
they want to listen to Foo Fighters, so
right.
he wrote this song in tribute to them.
Fantastic. Well, you're living proof that artists that play in the subways can make it.
I suppose I am.
And that's sort of where it all started for you, right? In the subways of New York?
Yes, it did. That was my first residency.
Well, what train was it, and what station was it? Primarily,
it's funny. I was just doing a thing with the Village Voice on this very same topic, and we went to my old haunts.
Right.
And it was usually I took the L to 6th Avenue.
Okay.
And if someone was playing there, then I could connect to the F, either uptown or downtown.
Right.
So there's three basic platforms for me to choose
and good
from.
acoustics, you said at one point in certain subway platforms.
Places, yeah. You would get amazing acoustics, and you'd be able to project a lot more.
Well, at first for you, it was all about you playing the guitar in your somewhat unorthodox Michael Hedges, Stanley Jordan sort of way. There's still more playing for you now, but you're singing a lot more too.
I am. Singing has become part of the repertoire. Just part. I don't know.
Were you always just sort of humming along when you're doing your solo acoustic thing, and just words were trying to come out, or was it just...
it's actually. I mean, I'd always written songs as a kid. I mean, as a kid, I say 15, 16, 17, and at some point, this discipline of acoustic guitar just took over. But I was always playing in bands and singing,
right?
And it just so happened that I made these 2 solo acoustic guitar records, on both of which I sang on. But then it just was something that I got more into and more interested in, and just trying to create more of a palette of sound. And what else are you going to do? Oh, let's sing. So
you brought your guitar. We've got Mac from your band on guitar as well. So what do you want to play for us?
We're going to play a song called Life Being What It Is.